Welcome back to Read, Watch, Play. Tonight, we're going to talk about our comics from the last couple of weeks. We're going to talk a little bit about Thor versus the Justice League, and I played Super Mario Odyssey this weekend. You are watching Read, Watch, Play. I'm your host, Tony Cox. With me, as always, is...
Can you say it?
He's going to let me say it.
I'll let you
Clifford
try.
Parmenter.
There you go.
And we're glad you're joining us. Thank you for joining us. We are live here at the Catskill Kerwin's Game Store. I say Catskill Kerwin's Game Store because we just opened in Poughkeepsie.
Yes, it's very nice.
Kerwin's Game Store just opened in the Poughkeepsie Galleria this past Monday. And we're very excited. So if you guys are in that area at all, check them out in the Poughkeepsie Galleria. We're open the same as the mall hours, maybe a little later. And we'd love you to come and stop by. I think we're gonna have our grand opening.
It's a double whipped soft open.
Half calf foam latte.
Yes, because it's like I get there. It's like it's a soft opening. Tomorrow we're gonna do this format. The following night we'll do this, and then we're gonna do that, and then maybe Sunday will be board game day. I'm like, you've been open 2 hours, and y'all have the whole board lined up with different card games. I don't know. So yeah, guys, soft open. Soft.
We got to work out all the kinks first, too. We got some more product to order. So.
You know, make room for hero clicks for somebody somewhere.
Yep, I've already been talking to Alberto about that.
Okay,
so,
good.
Possibly Thursday nights. So because Middletown just moved to Wednesdays. Yay. So let's jump right into it. We got a lot of comics to cover this week. I read some comics. I read a Marvel comic. I read a Star Wars comic. I read a Betty Page comic, and I read a Xenoscope comic.
Ooh,
that's okay. We'll get into that whole mess right there.
Well, it's funny because I just came here from Alternaverse picking up some of my comics, and Nicole Hellenic was there, and her writing partner on Infernco. Damn, I didn't get a picture. But anyhow, so like they're doing this horror comic together. These two fine young women, and Nicole's doing the art. But they'll be at Albany Toy and Comic Show on Sunday.
That's right. That's this weekend
at 10 a.m. So you can meet them there. Rob Lowell was there.
Rob Lowe?
Rob Lowell.
Oh, Rob Lowell. You got me excited there for a second.
I know. Can you imagine? No, but I mean, I like him. So yeah, and everybody brought some horror stuff. And Christian St. Pierre and his wife, and they're lovely. And of course, we started talking about Toys for Tots right away. And because I have that coming up too. And then I was telling them how like all the stuff I'm trying to do for this Saturday. I keep trying to do things for charity, people, and people just don't answer me. They just don't reply to my post on Facebook. They just don't answer my phone.
Pick up the phone and reply.
You would think.
Literally. All right, so let's get into it.
It's going to be a great time.
You read a lot of DC comics this week.
Yeah.
Starting with a pair, Teen Titans number 13.
Yeah.
And that apparently has something to do with Deathstroke Defiance.
A little tiny bit, which I love. Right. First, I'm going to give you guys like a Marvel minute. The new Captain America came out today. It went back to its original numbering.
Yeah, that's right.
It's Steve Rogers trying to get back into the swing of things. I recommend it.
The artwork on that is very nice because it's kind of a throwback to
the classic.
Yeah, it's a classic.
I'm gonna call it 80s-ish, 70s.
Yeah, 80s. Yeah. I would say late 70s.
Like it's not super classic, but you know, it's like that.
Yeah, it's
that
got a
vibe.
It's got a vintage feel to it.
Yes.
It's nice.
So a Bronze Age feel. So I like that. Definitely pick it up. I picked up Iceman, and I will be talking about that. Guardians of the Galaxy also went back to its original numbering, and they have a whole new adventure going on. And
Avengers came out today also.
It
was part 3 of Worlds Collide.
Yeah. I don't know where this is all going. I feel like it's another fallout with the X-Men. Anyhow, guys, I'm sorry. I keep trying to pick up a Marvel book to appease all of you. And they make it so hard. I mean, DC makes it hard too, but they make it so hard. Also, Superman number 800.
Oh, that's right.
Came out today as a $2.99 comic in the middle of the story with Darkseid. Because remember last time I said part 1, Steppenwolf is on the cover. Yep. So now this one, Lois becomes a female Fury. Luthor tries to give up his role of God of Apocalypse to Superman to get all the Apocalyptians off of him. And it's a good issue. I did not feel something that's in the middle of a story that's a regular book warranted number 800.
You know what's interesting too is
Sorry, it
that,
was supposed to be a Marvel minute.
you know what's interesting too is I noticed that on the regular cover said nothing about it being the 800th issue. Yeah. On the variant cover, it had 800 in big letters, and I was like, well, that's interesting.
Yeah, it was a 50-50
I almost
cover.
missed it. I almost missed it too, because to be honest, with the regular cover, I thought it was a Superwoman comic book.
Yeah.
When I first saw it, because it had the S off to the side like her comics usually do, and I actually put it into that slot on our rack.
And then you're like, wait a second.
And then I picked up the variant cover for Superman, and I was like, I only have one copy of this. I was like, this is weird. And then I looked over, and there was the one. I was like, oh, wait a minute, and it was very odd.
Yeah, a very interesting cover. But yeah, most of all, the new Guardians of the Galaxy and new issue of Cap I recommend. And of course, I love Iceman, and like completely. I've been a full convert, especially with this issue. So I recommend that. And then, I don't know, they're all a bunch of weirdos. You know, DC and Marvel, they have different weird things going on. Mm-hmm. They have different reasons that make me crazy with them. But I do appreciate a lot of these writers.
So what's going on in Teen Titans number 13?
Okay. Starfire has taken over the Titans. She's sick of Damian's influence on the team, and the first thing she wants to do is go reclaim Kid Flash, who, as we know, is hanging out with Deathstroke. So listen to what Damian decides to do. He grabs his mutated flying bat creature. Oh,
I was just looking at that. I was like, what is that?
Right, that's his pet that he flies everywhere.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly, right? So, like, the first thing he does is he makes...
Is this an issue of Teen Titans Go?
No, it's Teen Titans. No. He makes a holodeck, right? Yeah, okay. In the training room.
Yeah.
Right? To fight the Titans so they could train together.
The danger room.
Sure. Right. The danger room. Or the holodeck. Then they come in, the Titans, and they're like, Damian, what do you think this looks like to us? Like, you threw Kid Flash off the team, a evil parallel universe version of you attacks us and mutates us, and now we see you fighting holographic versions of us. Right? And he goes, I just did this so we can all train when we're not together. You know? And they're like, yeah, it doesn't look good. So Starfire's like, I'm in charge of the team now. We're going to go get Kid Flash. And he's like, too bad, you guys. I got my own plans. So he tries to go and get the new Red Arrow, who's Oliver's, like, half-sister.
It's not Speedy, is it?
No, she's Red Arrow. She calls herself Red Arrow. And guess, you will not believe, I was in shock who she is chasing in this issue. Someone who I said is a very controversial character in a previous episode of our show. She's chasing after Onomatopoeia.
Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah.
Which I did there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Onomatopoeia.
Oh my God, it's so funny because of course she like shoots him with arrows and arrows hit the wall and he goes thwack thwack thwack. You know, so like it's onomatopoeia heavy when you read the issue. Even though he's only like on a couple pages, but you've heard me say before, there's been issues in the past with DC using that character. Now it's like they're casually using him in Teen Titans. But good issue, definitely a woo. I'm in the story. She wants nothing to do with Damian. She's like, why do I want to hang out with the Teen Titans? She goes, your team is so good. Why are you the only one here trying to recruit me? She goes, I work with Green Arrow, Arsenal, Black Canary, Onyx. What do you do? She goes, you have no friends. She goes, I don't want to be on your team. And then she goes, oh, you idiot, you distracted me. So she's like, Onomatopoeia never wanted to blow up the boat. He wanted to detonate something on the boat to drown the city. So that, sorry, spoilers, guys. Anyhow, great issue, love it. It's part 1 of the return of Kid Flash. And of course, they confront him and start saying, you belong on our team. You can't be any good with Slade. Now, speaking of Slade, we'll cut over to Deathstroke 25.
Deathstroke 25.
So here's the deal. Remember how I said we last left off with the Society? Mm-hmm. Hector Hammond and all them? Well, he wakes up in this issue as their prisoner. And Vandal Savage is leading a meeting. By the way, Killer Frost is at the meeting, right? Mm-hmm. So it's going to get interesting, right? Because she's in the Justice League of America with Batman. Why is she there? Oh. They're having a meeting because they feel that too many of their supervillain allies are converting to heroism. Right? And then they start debating what is good and bad and what is evil, right? And so Professor Zoom, Reverse Flash, right? Eobor Thawne is like, I'm not evil. I do what's most effective to get what I want.
Yeah.
I don't go out of my way to be evil, right? And I'm like, you're pretty evil, dude, but okay. You're like
some evil things.
You're like one of the most evil dudes in the room, and you think you're not evil because you just do what's effective. Then it's like Ultra Humanite is like, I don't care. I know I'm evil. I embrace it. And I'm like, what? And Vandal Savage, as you know, has been sometimes hero, sometimes not. So he's more blurry line of, what's good and what's evil is subjective. Mm-hmm. So Killer Frost is like, okay, if that's what this meeting is about, I came here willingly. Are you going to kill me? Hey, Ryan. And she's like, I came here willingly. Are you going to kill me? She goes, because I work with Batman now in the Justice League of America. So they have this huge debate, and all the while, Deathstroke's outfit, which sounds like his friend Wintergreen, is talking to him, and Riddler is torturing him at the same time. Plus, there's all the stuff going on in his mind, including the initial fight and how he got captured. Anyhow, great issue. I'm not going to spoil the ending because something outrageous happens at the end. Outrageous, yeah, outrageous.
Oh, he is not lying. Oh,
yeah.
My gosh.
We're talking double page, screaming crazy, outrageous. I'm super excited. In the meantime, the rest of the Defiance team think that everything's all right. There's like, oh, there's nothing Slade can't handle. He'll be fine. And little do they know.
Wow.
And the next issue is called The Fall of Slade.
Wow. Wow. You guys have to pick this up.
Yeah, it's really good.
Wow.
I love the issue. I like what they did with the characters.
That's amazing. All right. So it sounds like a woo for both of these.
Oh my god! So far, big. Well, it's very hard to get me to unwoo.
Yeah.
And also, but the biggest problem is like I just can't spend my money on things that I'm probably gonna boo.
Right. True.
So it's bad, man. It's bad.
I unfortunately had that problem this week. So anyway, next up is Justice League.
Yes, it is.
Or do you want to do?
I'm going to do Justice League first.
All right, so let's do Justice League first.
So Bats Head of Hell Part 1 in The Flash. We know that The Flash wound up on that other Earth, and all the Justice Leaguers have been. Hey, Ray.
How's it going, Ray? Yes, we do live stuff. We're doing live stuff right now.
That's right. So
and you can tell it's live because we just mentioned you in it.
Yep. So
sorry, I've been drinking a Monster. I'm a little jacked right now.
That's okay. I'm having Mountain Dew to get me through the night. So
this is a metal tie-in.
Yeah, remember, the Flash is already trapped on Earth -41.
Right.
Or -44.
Right.
-44, sorry.
Is that what it's supposed to be called? -44?
I read the DC blogs to be sure.
Oh,
so they're all trapped in a pocket. They all seem to be trapped in a pocket like negative Earth dimension where they are just going to be beaten by their counterparts. Wonder Woman gets the most screen time this issue, fighting against her Batman counterpart who's wearing Ares' helmet, and his armor is actually fashioned by the gold that the ferryman uses in Greek mythology to take you to the realm of the dead. Ooh. So listen to this messed up stuff that he did in his world. He found the Amazons after Diana died, murdered all of them, and collected their gold coins and forged it into his armor so their spirits could not go to the realm of the dead, so that he could summon their spirits as an army. Wow. Is that not the most... Like, all these Bruces are so screwed up, I want every one of them to be crushed into the ground and defeated. Every one of them.
Wow. So they're writing this pretty effectively.
Oh, yeah. And I was really feeling it for Wonder Woman. I'm like, man, you got like a super successful hit summer billion-dollar movie, but you don't get a break in the comics, girl. Not 1 second. Yeah, and it's funny because she's fighting that Batman, and she goes, I'm strong enough. She goes, the script, who taught you the script? He goes, you did? She goes, I never would have taught the likes of you. He goes, oh, but once upon a time you did. And then they have their fight, and then he beats the hell out of her, and then it cuts to all the other confrontations and how they're escalating. Like, Aquaman is getting beaten up by a mare who's been mutated into a killer hammerhead shark.
Jeez.
And Flash is being tortured by the Red Death, who made a brand new Flashmobile to torture him.
Yeah, I saw that.
And it's just
it looked like Mad Max.
Yeah.
There's a couple of panels I was like, oh, that looks kind of like Mad Max.
yeah, no, it's just really, really, it's good. It's great storytelling. It's just so disturbing what these characters have come up with.
That's amazing. So does this tie directly into the Devastator?
No, but the Devastator actually ties into directly Dark Knight's #3. Remember how Superman went to the parallel world, or to the negative world?
So this is Dark Knight's Metal Batman the Devastator. So this is the Doomsday one.
This is the Doomsday
This is the
Virus
Doomsday
Batman.
one. Doomsday Virus Batman.
So Superman is trapped.
Yeah.
While this Batman does narration.
Okay.
And that giant Superman battery, and he goes, "Oh, you were so bright, Clark. Oh yeah, by the way, like Lobo goes toe to toe trying to protect the Fortress of Solitude.
Yeah.
And yeah, he beats the hell out of Lobo and calls him pathetic. Wow. He's like, the Lobo from my world was much more feared and awesome than you. Wow. So Lois is trying to escape in the present at the Daily Planet.
That's great lettering on this.
Oh yeah, the lettering for all the characters is amazing. So Lois is trying to escape. She makes contact with what appears to be Bruce Wayne. He touches her, and it's Doomsday Bruce. And guess what he just did by being there? He infected her with the Doomsday virus, said she could be a carrier, and pass it on to everyone around her. Whoa. Then he tells his story of how his Superman was this bastion of hope that everyone believed in, and then he started going on a rampage, and they thought they would get through to him. They thought they would get to the Clark they all know and love, and then he murdered his wife and child. And then they knew that whatever Clark they were looking for didn't exist anymore. So Batman injects himself with the Doomsday virus in that world to kill Superman and save his world. Just like all of them wants to save their world through the darkest means necessary, and he couldn't. Yeah, he even spews kryptonite gas into him.
Wow.
Yeah, brutally murders his Superman.
These guys are messed up.
So he's telling Lois, our Lois, that, oh, but I'm here to save you. Don't you understand? I'm saving you. So you're going to become more powerful than ever before. Superman will never be able to hurt you. You know? Because he just presumes her Superman will be a menace. So Team Superman shows up to kick butt. Supergirl, Steel, and Superwoman. Mm-hmm. And of course he starts...
Guardian? Is that Guardian?
Oh, that's Guardian, yeah. Which is weird because he looks like he's flying.
Yeah.
But I guess that's a thing now.
Is this is Earth Prime, right?
Yeah, that's Earth Zero, yeah. Our Earth. So then John wants to get involved, Lois' son, and then she's trying to get him back in the house, and she gets him back into the apartment, and she's already converting into a doomsday monster herself.
Oh my gosh.
And he moved the interdimensional tuning fork to Gotham City, just like his master wanted. And, and apparently Clark and all the other Clarks who've been turned into a giant super battery are watching all this from the dark negative world.
Whoa.
So yeah, Crisis-style level event in my book.
Wow.
And yet they're not treating it as such, but they kind of are.
Well, I think what this is, and I just saw the ad for it, and maybe they announced it and I just missed it, but it looks like this is going to tie directly into the new age of superheroes, or the new age of heroes. We were talking to, I think, Steve Orlando about that, and didn't he say one of his new upcoming projects was a new age of heroes?
Yeah, and he actually tweeted today about the new Firebrand. And,
right, it's Firebrand, right?
She's one of them, and she's like DC's deadliest fighter, because if she doesn't fight every day, she'll die.
Wow. But I mean, like, they're starting to advertise some of these new characters and stuff. So I think that what this is doing is I think it is it's
a setup for some changes.
Yeah, it's a setup. I think for some, in the very least, some introductions to new characters or old characters retooled and things
Right, like
that,
Damage
so.
was a character
Yeah.
before. He actually, he was the original Adam's son, like the Golden Age Adam, the little short guy who like just had super strength. Like he was his son. It turned out after like ages of him searching to find the truth, and but you know he let out these huge, powerful atomic blast, and like when he first discovered his power, he destroyed his town, and it was awful, you know. And then the JSA took him in, and they were training him, and Jeff Johns wrote all of that, and it was wonderful. I love that. And now we got this Damage. I have no idea what he is.
Interesting.
It just looks like he looks like Doomsday Cyborg to me with a bald head.
Well, that's who I thought of as I was
Yeah.
like,
So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's. So we're still on the Woo train for all the metal stuff.
Oh yeah, and like I said, the ones that focus on each of the Batmen and women are really good. Like I like their crazy dark stories. It really motivates me to want to see them pulverized and removed from the multiverse.
Awesome.
I haven't hated characters like this so much since Superboy Prime.
Great.
You know, like, have you ever picked up a comic and you're just so angry to see the character? You're like, why aren't they just gone yet? Why aren't they dead or Phantom Zoned or something?
I felt like that about...
I hate the Joker too, so that's okay.
I felt that way about Cyborg Superman after during Reign of the Supermen when he destroyed Coast City, and then afterwards I'm just like, why is this guy not put down yet? Like, I cannot believe.
Well,
he just did that.
Well, I was gonna say with him, he has the best excuse. Oh, I jump into different technology.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh yeah, we're really gonna stop him. I love that. Would love to hate him.
Awesome. So let's move on over to Marvel a little bit and let's talk about Iceman #7.
All right, so I butchered issue number 6. I feel when we talked about it.
Yeah.
So he goes to LA in issue 6, reunites with the remaining champions, so they can celebrate Natasha Romanoff's life, basically. Like, remember her.
This is the original champion.
This is the original champions. And then, of course, there's that girl who wants to break into movies, and she turns on some Sentinels. And Bobby's on his first date with Judah, right? So in this issue, Bobby kicks butt like only he knows how. He saves Judah, makes a giant ice sentry that just pulverizes these not so smart Sentinels, so they don't adapt to your powers. Look at that, boom.
Oh, that's awesome. Classic looking Sentinels.
Yeah, and Hercules and the others just are like all too happy to take them down. Of course, Angel is there. And the issue's fun. Their day continues. Judah brings him back to the apartment to introduce him to Netflix and chill. It immediately cuts to breakfast the next morning with the champions, where Bobby says, "Oh, I'm not going to kiss and tell. I'm still processing all of this." So I thought that was cute. Then he tells the story of how he first met Black Widow and how he had this cheesy line that he wrote to her. And she's like, your cheesy line doesn't hide the mouse that you really are. You know?
Wow. I like how they did that too.
They instantly went back into retro look.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
That's awesome.
And then he said, and he goes, so that was my first line to this woman who became such an amazing friend to me. And I opened with the stupid pickup line because this is what my father expected me to be. Oh, and full of expectations. But he meets the girl who activated the Sentinels. He says all is forgiven because she wasn't trying to kill them. Mm-hmm. He also gave her a number to someone at UCLA who could really work with somebody with her intelligence, and that maybe she's not meant for movies. And he tries to do the hanging upside down Spider-Man thing using ice, and he falls right in his face.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And he's like, I'm sorry, my friend does it all the time. So his parents, Bobby's dad is trying to get the mom to open up. Yeah. The mom is like, he's not telling us everything. You don't know. He goes, what are you ranting about? And she holds up a couple pages from her printer, and she goes, for starters, there's 2 of our son. And she has the 2 pictures of the 2 Icemen. So they didn't even know about young Iceman. So he goes back to teaching and texting Judah. And then he realized, so he's walking around the mansion and he's just like, everything is what it is. Angel is teasing him because they're hanging out in Bobby's old bedroom. And he goes, how did we ever fit in these rooms? Look at my wings. I can't even fit my wings in here. And he's like, am I too close, Bobby? He's like, is this too much? Because little Warren told me that you and little Bobby like me a lot. And he's like, chill out, friend. He goes, only when you're blue. To Angel. Like, you're only hot when you're blue. I thought that was funny. It was cute. Cute for me. Anyhow, he announces to the team that he thinks he wants to move to LA. And that's our big cliffhanger.
Interesting.
Again, I spoil almost everything.
Awesome.
I loved it. I love the issue. I love where it's going. He might be jumping in a little too fast for his first romance crush.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's a real...
because he's moving to LA for him.
No, he's not. He just feels like he's not saying that, but yet he's texting. What we see is that once he gets home, he's just texting him nonstop. And of course, Judah is responding. It's like, oh, I really enjoy your company. No matter what happens, I just want to make sure we remain friends. Yeah. You know, all that stuff. And I'm just like, oh man, my heart's breaking like I'm 23 again.
This is clearly a fictional story because that never happens in real relationships. Remaining friends.
I remain friends with one of my exes.
I mean, I guess sometimes, but there's always I always find there's a bad period. By the way, welcome to Cliff and Tony Talk About Relationships.
Yes.
I always find that there's like a section of like not so good relationship, and then if it's strong enough, it'll come out as a friendship later on. But anyway, that's me. So sounds like a woo again. So
yes.
All right.
And then my honorable mentions. Should I go for them?
Yeah.
Detective Comics 967, Lonely Place of Dying. And, Lonely Place of Living, which we get a little nod to maybe Connor Kent might exist, which I like, because we got Titans Tomorrow, Batman running around, and he's trying to kill Batwoman, so, like, that's fun. And then, of course, we got this super cool, weird lenticular cover thing again, with John and his grandfather versus John and his dad, and, The Oz Effect Part 4, it's like a soft woo. Ooh. Like I just feel, I was
worried there. We may have gone into blue territory.
It's because it's part 4. Yeah. And listen,
do we know how many parts this is?
I don't know, but we're already at part 4 and I'm just tired. Listen, I read for fun this weekend. Mm-hmm. I read a lot of the beginning. You know, I got that George Perez Wonder Woman omnibus thing. Yep. I read a lot. Like the first 40 issues of George Perez's Wonder Woman from the 80s is amazing. Mm-hmm. Like so much happens in those 40 pages. I can't even get over it. Like we established the dawn of man, the first spirit to be collected, which is Hippolytus, the birth of the Amazons, the challenge to leave the island, Diana lying to her mother and being part of the challenge, becoming Wonder Woman, getting her ancient garbs from the woman she... I mean, there's so much that happens in just that first issue. And then we get into Wonder Woman's mission, meeting Steve Trevor, her mission to stop Ares, meeting, oh my God, what are the name? Julia and her daughter, Kanastopoulos or whatever, which thankfully Julia, being a professor and knowing some Greek, speaks to Wonder Woman with like modern Greek, but she's like listening to Wonder Woman and she's like, your Greek is like crazy, like, and my Greek is bad, so I'm going to try really hard here. And Decay comes after them, like issue 3 or 4, but so much happens. George Perez told these fantastic stories in 3 issues. Yeah. That's it.
And
great stuff.
Part 4.
Right, and I'm on part 4 of this thing, which I'm like, it's not, I mean, this was, it's Oz. Who is Mr. Oz? Okay, it's Jor-El.
Yeah, didn't we already answer that?
Yeah, right, but now I mean, like, it's part 4, and it's still like, you say you're my father, but even if you are, then you're not the man, and you're not the hero I thought you were.
So this entire issue could have been like 1 page.
This entire issue could have been like 1 page. Like it's like what modern writers do not understand. There must be balance between exposition and action. I find the movies that infuriate me do not have proper exposition. It's just too much weight on how you feel about what you're seeing. Yeah. And of course, I'm angry because what I see is just too grim for the characters I love, versus so much exposition that you're bored and removed from the story, and you're just like, what are we doing here?
Well, it's funny because I recently got caught up with Sex Criminals, and I find that comic is very slow as far as like what's happening.
But the characters are written.
But the thing is it's really about the characters and their relationships, and like it's so character driven that you root for these people, you don't like these people, like, but you get to know all of them.
Yes.
Like, they'll spend an entire issue on the villain.
Exactly, but look how much you get out of that one issue.
Oh, it's so amazing.
Right,
like,
and then we get back to the story once you're done with the villain.
Yeah.
That's my point.
I mean, I think,
one issue, we got the whole background on your villain.
I mean, I think Sex Criminals literally just wrapped up volume 4. So it's I think 21 issues in, 22 issues in, something like that. And I feel like the time that's passed in the comic world, like in this story world, is probably a few months.
Which is normal.
But like you just feel like you're really getting to know these characters, and you take your time with them, and then it's the characters that are moving the plot forward, and not like, oh well, we have to get to it's like Scott Liddell said to us, he's like, what, I'm on the 4th issue and they haven't fought yet in Red Hood and Red Hood and the Outlaws, and he's like, I hope they don't notice. And it's like, that's like, to me, I want to go and pick up that comic now, because it's like, oh, a comic where they're not fighting in every issue, where I get to know the characters and they get to grow and have character journeys and arcs, and like,
Bizarro has
that's
a
the
brain.
interesting things. No,
yeah,
they didn't.
No, the best part is that Bizarro's smart now. It's really funny.
Awesome. All right, well, let's jump into my comic haul. I picked up. So here's the story of this. I picked up. So I was ordering comics. I was going through the list of comics to order, and this title caught my eye. Just the title. I didn't see any artwork. I didn't know anything about it. It was from Zenescope Entertainment. And I just saw Robin Hood with the Y, and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." I like Robin Hood. Green Arrow is kind of like a modern day Robin Hood, like in the actiony sense, but he's just sort of like a superhero. I was like, "Oh, this seems like an interesting take." Then I discovered that it's set in modern times. I'm like, "That's interesting." I think it's part of the Grimm fairy tale universe at Zenescope.
Okay, yeah.
So I was
that'd be interesting then.
I was like, "Oh, okay," and they're doing a. They're doing I think it's a 6-issue miniseries called The Hunt.
Okay.
And she's had her own comic before, and she's been, and I thought, well, this is interesting. Then I saw it, and I was like, okay, well, they sort of, over-sexualized this character, and I'm like,
but that's what Zenescope does it to everybody.
That is, I should have known better, because I was like, that's kind of Zenescope's MO. Whatever you guys like. I'm not a huge fan of doing that for the sake of doing it. Like, I'm going to talk about Betty Page in a minute, and what drew me to the Betty Page comic was that they were taking this character that is traditionally known as a pinup girl, or like kind of risque, and adding this other dimension of her possibly being like an old war hero or a secret agent, or like
super spy Betty
super
Page.
Spy, yeah, like doing this interesting sort of twist on it. So I was like, all right,
I gotta tell you, I got people to pick it up just because the premise alone was enough to motivate them.
That's why I picked it up, and I've struggled to get to issue 4, but I'll talk about that in a second. So in Robin Hood, it starts off with her. She wakes up in a prison. She's been caught, and she is. It's unclear as to why she's there, but there's and I'm sure if I had read previous stories with her in it, that I would understand sort of who the players are in this. But she basically is there, and she's trying to escape, and she's very snarky, and she ends up. There's somebody turns off like the power inhibitors. Like there's power inhibitors to keep everybody from using their powers. Somebody turns them off so that they can. Or no, I'm sorry. A gang goes after her because they've sort of been paid to do that, to go after her. She of course beats them up because she's awesome. And then when they go to escape, there's a guard helping her that you find out is helping her.
Is his name Friar Tuck?
No, it's not Friar Tuck. I wish. So her and this other girl escape, and then they part their ways, and then she gets changed into her outfit, and she's on the run in the jungle. I'll be honest with you, I think I made it halfway through issue 3 and then I just stopped reading it. It was very very predictable, very cliche. There was no like she seems to not have any weaknesses. Like there's like she never falters. she's always this, you know, the smart aleck, like, you know, oh, I'm just gonna kick your butt, and like occasionally she was bound in the prison, and so she wasn't able to do that, and like that's her struggle, but like there was no like emotional core to it at all. It was all pure action, and it just wasn't entertaining and engaging. Like it was just, and like even literally the lines that they were using were just so cliche and so like just overused.
It sounds like everything I experienced the first time I saw the movie Salt.
I don't think I've seen. Oh no, I have seen Salt.
I was so disappointed. My friend Dave was like, "Oh, let's go see this movie with Angelina Jolie." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And like, you know, so of course it's action packed. And we're like, "Oh yeah, she's basically like Black Widow. This is cool." And then I was like, I'm like, nothing can stop her. She's perfect. There's no situation she can't handle. Yeah. She's not challenged one moment in the movie. There's one moment where she cannot do something in the movie. Yeah. And like that sucked. Yeah. And then the only time she crosses anything that's difficult for her, it's at the end of the movie with the big reveal with the villain. Yeah. And I was like, this movie doesn't need a sequel. Yeah,
that's a good way of putting it. Like it doesn't feel like the protagonist is challenged at all in this story. So,
no, I mean we get her background, we get a lot of great action scenes, but no, and actually I hate that. The best movies for me aren't people who could take everybody out of the room, bust through the window, land in the other building, take out another room full of people in the other building. Like it's too boring. For me, I kind of like the 80s films where like every fight was like, oh, we could lose. Yeah. There are 26 of them. There are only 4 of us, and of the 4 of us, that guy is Bruce Lee, and the 3 of us are people who work in a gift shop. Like that's what I like.
Are you listening, Hollywood? That's your next. That's your next.
But am I wrong? Do you like feel like? Do you know? Do you know?
No,
do you
yeah. Well, it's like there's. What did I watch recently? I watched some 80s movie. Oh, Tango and Cash.
There you go.
I watched Tango and Cash, and there's a great scene where they get locked up in prison and wrongfully accused because they're cops and they're framed and they're put in prison. And then there's a scene where they're literally surrounded by like 100 guys, and it's clear they're not making it out alive unless something else happens. And so it's just funny to see them get out of those situations. And I felt like that's not the case in this, because it literally was just like, oh, this happens. It was like a roadmap of every typical, like everything we've seen before in a jailbreak, and then she gets out and she's just like snarky and whatever, and like it's there was just no depth to it. There was no emotional core. She wasn't challenged at all. So it's actually a pretty hefty boo for me.
And maybe this is why I'm enjoying metal the way I am.
Yeah.
Because it's these huge, dark, nasty, insurmountable odds closing in on our heroes. But I love our heroes so much.
Well,
I'm like,
the other thing is that they're developing the villains, though. They're giving them their own series. They're showing why they think they're right, because the best villains aren't evil. They think they're the good guys in their own story. They think they're doing the right thing.
Lantern Batman is pretty freaking terrifying. He's pretty evil. I may not be one to judge, but I mean, if we were using a scale system, it'd be 11 out of 10.
So it's boo for me. So then let's jump into Darth Vader number 7. Ooh. So Darth Vader has met the Grand Inquisitor, and he's been charged with training the Inquisitors to hunt the remaining Jedi that are left after Order 66.
So Vader and the Inquisitor are going to train the Inquisitors.
No, Vader is training the Inquisitors.
Including the Inquisitor that we meet in Rebels.
The Grand Inquisitor.
Including him.
Correct.
Who could have possibly taken Vader out in the last issue. No. He gave him a fight. He gave him a good fight.
No.
He didn't give him a good fight?
It was not a good fight at all. Oh. Vader, it's very clear that Vader was holding back. Oh. And even the Emperor says he could have killed you if he wanted to. So,
well, then I guess we have that.
This issue opens with one of the Inquisitors holding his shoulder, missing his arm, that's laying on the ground, and Vader saying, "It's just an arm. Get up and fight."
Yeah.
Because Vader Vader's been torn apart, and he's still
He's
fought.
like, my best friend left me in a pool of lava.
Well, not just
you can fight.
exactly, and not just that, but in the previous issues of this storyline, he literally fell off a cliff and had to rebuild himself from a droid.
And then he rebuilt himself again when he got home.
Exactly. So and the Grand Inquisitors, and then it shows the next panel is there's a bunch of Inquisitors missing their hand, missing their leg, whatever, and the Grand Inquisitor's like, what is cutting their extremities off doing? And he's like, it'll teach them about loss, and they need to accept that. And it's like, this is so well written. It is.
He's a better movie than movie Vader has ever been.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't go that far because I think Vader in the original trilogy is amazing, and
I only think he's amazing in Return of the Jedi.
Really?
Yeah, because
I think he's good in Empire
you gotta
Strikes
be.
Back.
He doesn't say enough if you think about it. You know.
He reveals to Luke that he's his father.
He does, but he doesn't. And he sets a trap too in Cloud City.
Mm-hmm.
But if you think about it, he does not say much. You know, we don't see him as a fully fleshed character.
That's true.
Until Return of the Jedi.
So the other thing that this really makes clear is that so they have a hit list of Jedis that they need to go after.
Ooh.
And number one with a bullet, directive from the Emperor, is Jocasta Nu. Do you know who Jocasta Nu is? Because we've seen her before.
Is she the red?
Nope.
No.
She's the librarian.
Oh no.
She's the Jedi Archive. She's the Jedi Archive administrator, and she was charged with she's the one that Obi-Wan talks to when he's looking for Kamino.
I know. She's in one of the games, by the way, and I think Vader kills her in one of the games.
So she's number one with a bullet from the Emperor, and Anakin's like Darth Vader's not Darth Vader. The Grand Inquisitor's like, I always hated her. She used to organize in her head who was worthy of the Jedi teachings, and there was because I believe the Grand Inquisitor is a former Jedi. In fact, I think they're all all the Inquisitors are former Jedi, but they're all, as I mentioned before, they were all raised by the Emperor. They were the stolen children from the Clone Wars that he brought to Mustafar and raised them and had them go off to the Jedi while
the chaos ensued.
Yeah. So the Grand Inquisitor's talking about how much he hates her and stuff, and he's like, I don't know why the Emperor, she's old and frail and she'll, whatever. So Vader goes to the Emperor. He's reporting on the Inquisitors, and he says, the Grand Inquisitor makes it clear to Vader that the Emperor chose him to lead the Inquisitors, and now he's chosen Vader to train them. So there's a little, and he goes, and the Grand Inquisitor says, if we succeed, it'll be because of you, and if we fail, you need to own that.
Oh.
And Vader says, oh, I will, don't worry. And he says, that's why I'm training you this way, because you need to be. He goes, you fight like Jedi, defensive, and you only attack when it's necessary. That's the failing of Jedi, is that you need to be relentless. And he goes, Jedi feel they're successful if both parties are still alive. You can't think like that anymore. So, some truth bombs from the old, Uncle Vader. And so he goes to the Emperor and he tells him, reports on the Inquisitors that he's aggressively training them. And he goes, good. He goes, they need somebody like you because they're a great tool and that's what they're meant to be, but they are not Sith. And it's very clear that there is a separation between who are Sith and why there'll always be two, no more nor less, and then the tools of the Sith, which are the Inquisitors.
But the Grand Inquisitor counts as what then? I mean,
he is a dark side Force user.
Okay.
That has been trained.
But he's not a Sith.
He's not a Sith.
That's weird, but okay.
So, throwing back to the
By
Old
the
Republic,
way, that whole thing with Master and Apprentice and everything, it doesn't really work when you follow the Clone Wars, by the way. Because he's grooming Anakin, right?
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, in part 1, he loses freaking, what's his name? You know who I'm talking about.
Count Dooku?
No. Part 2, Count Dooku, we meet.
Darth Maul.
Well, he loses Darth Maul.
Right.
Then he's clearly manipulating Count Dooku. He's clearly using him as the apprentice.
Right.
But he's grooming Anakin. Like it never feels like it never feels like the Emperor uses the rule of 2. You know?
Well, the thing is that there can only be one apprentice at a time.
Yeah. I don't know. He was kind of like juggling 3 and kind of laughing about it in the background.
So the Emperor tells him, and he goes, and the Emperor, Vader asks him why they're going after Jocasta Nu for the first, and the Emperor tells how she holds the keys to dismantling what they're doing, and she's the only one who does and he tells this wonderful story about how the Jedi would go out and they would find these Force relics and they would acquire them and they would take them and and Palpatine even says something that was kind of profound in that he said their arrogance that they thought that they were theirs to take, and including Darkseid relics and artifacts and things. And meanwhile, this is all intercut with Jocasta Nu, where she is hiding out, recording holocrons, passing her knowledge on to these holocrons, and she's assembled hundreds of them. And her aide is there,
hoping that the information will be dispensed even after her death, knowing that there's a hit list for her.
She's saying that her time is coming to an end, that time will do what the Sith could not in killing her, and so she completes all these things, and he says, well, your new archive is complete, and she goes, this isn't an archive, this is a school, and a school needs students, and she goes, I have one more mission to go on, and then I'll be back. If the Force wills it, I will be back.
Ooh.
So she hops in her ship and she leaves.
I can't believe how... See, look at that. In that little bit, that character became fascinating.
Oh, it's amazing. She's so good. So she gets in her ship, she takes off. And we don't know exactly where she's going, right? And meanwhile, this is intercut with Palpatine telling the story about how the Jedi were arrogant in collecting these artifacts and things. And then he says that's why we need to go get her, and we need to bring her back, and she needs to tell us these things. And then we discover that she is, and last time we saw the Grand Inquisitor, he was left in the Jedi Archive to look for clues as to where she is. And he even says at one point, he says, and after I kill her, I'm going to read everything in here, because the knowledge should be mine. So he's in the Jedi Archive. Vader's with Palpatine, and so Palpatine's saying, so it's up to you, Lord Vader. You need to save her life.
Oh.
And then
she... See the games he plays?
Then the last pages, she steps out of a secret entrance in the Jedi Archive. Mm-hmm. So she is now walking into the Jedi Archive, which we know the Grand Inquisitor is there. And meanwhile, Vader's back at the Emperor's office near the Senate. And so... and the fact that now Vader has to go and save her life from the Inquisitors to bring her to Palpatine to get what they need. So
all Palpatine had to do was give the order that you bring her to me alive. That's all he had to do. But he loves to play games. Loves to. The two of them meet each other and almost kill each other. And he's like, I'm glad you met. Yeah. This one was holding back. You should be dead.
I think that was a test of the Inquisitors. I think that he sent Vader to test the Inquisitor's skill. And the other thing is that Palpatine, he says to Vader, he says, you use them as a tool, the Inquisitors, and they don't need to know any of this. All they need to know is we need to find her. And so there's a clear... It's interesting. Palpatine has created this Inquisitor's program, and handpicked these kids to become the Inquisitors, and now he's handed them over to Vader. But he is very they're not a part of what we're doing. They are a tool to be used. So it's very interesting. Huge woo for me. This is one of those comics that I cannot wait for it to come out because I want to know what's going to happen next. I almost would recommend people pick up the trades of this and just binge it, 6 issues at a time, because
the Emperor is
really
so messed up and disturbing. Although clearly, age does not make you better with the Force, because he did not see anything coming in Empire Strikes Back. I'm sorry, in Return of the Jedi. He did not see any of that coming.
Well, no, he saw, I mean, Luke almost, it almost worked, because Luke has to make that decision in that moment.
Yeah.
So he saw everything up until that moment, and then Luke made a different choice than what he foresaw. Yeah. So, all right, moving on to Black Panther Prelude. This is part of the official cinematic universe tie-in. This is a prelude to the Black Panther movie coming out in February. So this takes place 10 years before...
Civil War?
Yeah, maybe 9 years before Civil War. This actually, which happens to be when Iron Man outs himself to the world, when Tony Stark outs himself to the world at the end of Iron Man 1. So, and literally it starts off with T'Challa sort of doing this monologue about this Congo. There's a war between Congo and I forgot. There's another country, and it's coming dangerously close to the Wakandan border. And so in it, towards the end of it, it reminded me of the scene in the trailer for Black Panther where those military guys, those militia, whatever, and Black Panther just appears out of the trees and like takes him out. So it's very similar. It's very similar to that, where there's these two sides are fighting. And the UN is there trying to rescue the good side or whatever. Yeah. And so he comes in and he beats up everybody except for the UN and the good guys, and then goes back, and they kind of see him. And he goes back to report to his father, and his father is watching the press conference of Tony Stark saying that he's Iron Man. And then he turns it off and he talks to T'Challa, and he says you shouldn't let them see you. But he goes, but T'Challa says, well, basically you taught me too well to protect the innocent or whatever. And he goes, you're right. And he goes, and you always want to be careful. You always want to be careful, and you want to protect people more than you need to stay hidden, basically. And he says, what do you think about this Tony Stark business? And he's like, he's impulsive or whatever. So they have kind of a jab at that. And then it turns out that there are two Wakandan citizens that are in a hostage situation in Brazil. And apparently they have tracking devices in their beads. And he says, we need you to go. Be careful. Be careful above all else. Try not to be seen if you can. And he says you gotta go rescue them. And there is I didn't recognize these names, but maybe you do. Douglas Scott. Scott Douglas is one of the people, and Zanda. It's a hunter. Anyway, these are two. She's from Cambodia.
Okay.
Is it Cambodia? And he's from South Africa. And so anyway, they're the two people that they're basically holding people for ransom. They're getting money, gold, and then they're gonna launder it into whatever. So T'Challa goes to leave, and Aoki, is that her name? Mm-hmm. One of the Dora Milaje.
Yeah.
Is there and waiting for him.
I like how you have no problem with that, but her name was a stumble. It was a stumble, but the Dora Milaje, that was like...
Oh, Dora Milaje? Because I've heard somebody say that before.
Okay.
So I know I could pick it up very easily. So she's there waiting for him on the little Wakandan jet. And they go... He says, what are you doing here? I don't need any help. And he's like, oh, your father said I should come with you. And he's like, why? To look after me? And she's like, no, he said that I could learn from you. And he says, and for you to report back to him about what I'm doing. And she goes, and for me to report back to him about what you're doing. And he goes, good, I'm glad you told me the truth, because it means I can trust you. So they get in the jet and they fly to Brazil. And then they get there. And meanwhile, Xanda is, they're talking about, Douglas is talking about laundering the money, and Zeta pulls out this box of bullets, and she takes them out, and she goes, how about these? And she started putting them in her gun. She says, they're vibranium bullets. Ooh. And he's like, where did you get those? Those things cost you a fortune. She goes, oh, I got them from this guy. She doesn't mention who it is, but I'm pretty sure it's Claw. Mm-hmm. I got it from this guy because I worked that we did the last job with, and because I did it so well, he gave me a little bonus, So she puts these vibranium and she goes, and I'm planning on hunting today or something. So she knows, somehow she knows Black Panther's coming.
Yeah.
And so, so they arrive, they go in, and then T'Challa does another voiceover thing, like another monologue, and talking about how, above all else, he needs to protect his people, and at all costs. And then in the middle of the fighting, he gets shot with a vibranium bullet in the shoulder, and he starts bleeding. And then the last thing he says is, "I need to protect him at all costs." And then that ends this issue 1 of 2, I believe. Yeah, issue 1 of 2. So this is nice because it tells a little bit of a backstory. Oh, and T'Challa's been the Black Panther for 2 weeks.
Okay, so he's still new.
So but his father says at the beginning, he says, you've only been the Panther for 2 weeks, but you wear it as if you've been doing it your whole life. So, a big woo for me. It's simple sort of introduction stuff. A nice little prologue story, which is cool. I'm glad that they did an original story for this prelude, because in the last few cinematic preludes, specifically Guardians of the Galaxy, and I think maybe Spider-Man, they actually just rehashed movie scenes, and I was really disappointed.
And this is just its own.
And this is an original story that we haven't seen on screen, which is nice.
That's very nice.
And the last couple, I'm sorry, no, it was Thor. It was Thor Prelude. I think it was Thor Prelude and Guardians Prelude. Guardians Prelude was literally 2 issues adaptation of the first movie.
Ugh.
I was so upset and disappointed. I couldn't believe it. And I think the Spider-Man one was what was the Thor? I forget if it was Thor or Spider-Man, but one of them was basically a retelling of other on-screen stuff, and I was just like, this is so. Like, why would you do that? Like, they used to do the original story preludes. So.
Yeah, like, just keep it that way. Surprisingly, the Man of Steel prelude one was actually... So it was about the original Kryptonian travelers.
Oh, really?
Right.
Like the ship that he finds?
Yes.
With the missing passenger?
Yes, exactly.
Kara Zor-El.
Her name was Kara Zor-El. And she's his ancestor. And she dies.
No.
They all die. But they.
What about the one that's missing? Does she?
No, right. She
gets
gets out of it,
and then she dies.
Yeah, because they're like, so they're doing their research, whatever, and she's actually trying to store information for someone to find one day, and then obviously it does not work. But I mean,
why is that even in the movie? Why is that scene even in the movie?
Well, because, I mean, they could always do something with the movie, and then the prelude could just be like, oh, no, that was just a different part of the ship, so surprise.
Yeah.
I would love to see... Supergirl.
If we're getting Nightwing, we better be getting Supergirl.
Are we really getting Nightwing?
Oh, yeah. There's a writer and everything. There's a director.
That's a full thing?
Yeah. I mean, it is in development.
Yeah.
It does not have a release date yet or all, but it is in development.
Oh, my God. I know... You got one more comic to go, but oh my god,
Is this?
Oh my god, Shazam!
Let's talk about that.
Oh my god,
because I forgot about that news too, and there's other DC movie news as well.
Yes, there is.
All right, so
but that was the most important.
Last comic is Betty Page number 4. I get the photo. I get the photo covers. I like the photo covers. My wife likes the photo covers too.
I wonder why.
So last we left Betty Page, it was not a great issue. There was exposition in the wrong place, in my opinion. There was exposition in the wrong place. There was action in the other place, and it should have been it should have been flipped. I felt like there was an unnecessary, like, not an unnecessary twist, but there was just the way they twisted it was just poorly done, in my opinion. So. But the twist was engaging enough that I wanted to go back.
Not like Robin Hood.
Not like Robin Hood, because there's some charm to this comic. This comic is charming. It's not as because it's sort of like a good thing, bad thing. She's sort of like caught up in all of this, but she's taking it like she likes being caught up in it. And she likes sort of doing this stuff. So she's not like a secret agent, but she's basically like doing secret agent-y stuff and doing it quite well. And so I feel like I'm hoping what this does is it turns into like after 5 or 6 issues of this, she'll be like, I'm really good at this. I'm gonna like officially become like an agent of this organization,
you
right?
know, or maybe whoever is left over when all is said and done, it's like, we're gonna form our own team. This is gonna be great.
So last we left, the place where she was living, where this secret organization was headquartered, exploded, and everybody's dead. Well, that's not true. So she walks in, and there's Elroy Benway, who is the mastermind behind the organization that's been doing all of this mind control stuff with the extras, has the flying saucer.
Yep.
And this issue, it took 4 issues, but we finally got to the meat of the story, of the conflict that's happening and what she's been caught up in. I sort of like that it took him a little while because we organically got into it. We went on the journey with her, but I don't like it. I don't like it because it took 4 issues and they weren't exactly the best 4 issues. But what's panning out makes me want to go to issue 5. So they're keeping me into it. So she's there. There's all of Elroy's followers, right? These hooded people that tried to sacrifice her in the first issue and all this stuff. And he's the one that wrote the movie script for the Martian movie that she was on, where they were trying to do the thing. And so she gets there, and she's been kidnapped because this guy thinks that she works with PAST, which is I forget what that stands for, but that's the secret organization that the guy that hired her, Richard, I think, the guy that hired her was working for, and they were basically in charge of finding communist threats within the like
Hollywood circles.
Not Hollywood circles, but within the government, within some aerospace government organization, like government research,
like something prior to NASA.
Yeah. So this guy Elroy, he's and
I love how he just has straight up maniacal looks in the.
Yeah. Well, it's so funny because this is. I'll get to that in a second, but yeah, this is great.
Yeah.
So he's very much a cliche 50s villain, but they address that in the issue. So she's also there with the officer that arrested her, Lisa. And so they're being held against their will, and then when Elroy reveals himself and he's like, you're here, and she goes, you're Elroy, and so she goes into this like fangirl mode, and what she does is she tries to convince him that she's an innocent bystander in all this. She's reading his book, his sky science book, and that she's so excited to meet him, and that it's all been this misunderstanding that she works for these people. She was like the guy just wanted a pretty secretary and like this stuff, and so
totally
she's
trying
doing
to
all
play
this.
him.
She's just trying to play him, and you're like, and at first he's not buying it, and then he slowly buys into it, and she even, and then after he buys into it, he's like, all right, well let him go, let him relax, let him, here, let's go relax. So then the next thing is there, Betty has like these her diary entries that she talks about stuff, and she says, and they even address how there's about to be a cliche moment where the villain reveals his big secret, and she goes, like in every James Bond movie, in every this, she goes, and the reason is because in the 50s, that always happened. And she goes, and sometimes it had cocktails. And so next thing you see is the cop that she beat up in the previous issue, in his hood, is making, he's like, you guys want Manhattans, girls? Yeah. And it's like making drinks. So it turns into this hysterical thing, and they're all drinking, and
then maniacal laughter.
And he's like, yes, and so Betty like deduces what his plan is, and he fills it in, and basically because he's like, mining for oil or mining for gold, drilling for oil. These are resources that'll run out, but fear is a resource that'll never run out. and fear means control. And so his whole big plan is...
I hate when art is imitating life, but anyhow.
His whole big plan is... It's very Wag the Dog here. So his whole big plan is he uses the flying saucer to... which was developed by the government, right? And he steals the technology. He has the Russians help him steal the technology to have this flying saucer. And he's going to use the flying saucer to instill fear in the public, and then he's going to use his sky science to solve the problem, to protect the people.
Yep.
And then and that's that. And she says, "Well, that's great, but what do you get out of all this?" And here's where the like third layer commentary comes in.
Hey, Shane.
She says, "You just want to do this to sell your books?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hey, the Bible's a book." And he goes, "What I want is followers." And then I realize this guy's name is it
Elroy?
Elroy.
L. Ron Hubbard.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is a little bit of a commentary on L. Ron Hubbard and Scientology, and like then I started to see where this was going, and I started to get excited because it feels like there's a real plot going on, and now there's a clear villain, there's a clear goal, there's like some clear stuff, and so then she's taken down. She's like, all right, well, what, let me just... Oh, and the other thing we find out is that Rich, I think his name's Rich. Let me just double check. So the guy that hired her, his wife had gone missing, and I think I explained that. Rick, yeah. That's his name. His wife had gone missing, and because she was a scientist, and Elroy is who kidnapped her. And then so she says, "All right, well, tell me where she is." She's like, "This is amazing, but I just have one question. Where's this woman?" He's like, "Oh, come with me." They take her downstairs, and there's the mind control machine, and she's there, and Rick's there, and all the people from the house that blew up are there, still alive. And so he's like, "Yeah, I got it on a low setting. I'm gonna mind control them or whatever." And she's like, "Oh, this is great." And she's like, "Oh, blah blah." And she's like fanning out. Meanwhile, she's walking over to the outlet. Yeah. And then she's just like, "Oh yeah, this is great." Boop, and she unplugs it. Yeah. And then they overpower the men and the bad guys. And then everybody wakes up and they finally get to escape. Then they hear gunfire from outside and they run up, and it's the musicians from this part was a little weird. So they go out, and there's the musicians from the nightclub where they got kidnapped there, who were
followed
friends
them to try and save them.
Who were friends of the secret organization, who apparently planted a tracker on them. But the guy's like, it was some throwaway line where it's like, "Oh, I wonder which one of you they planted the tracker on," and it's like they could have just shown us that in the previous comic. In the previous issue, because I would have forgotten about it by this, and then it would have been a nice callback and be like, "Oh, that's right," so they come up, they rescue them, they get them, and then Elroy runs to the flying saucer, jumps in, it takes off, and Betty just decides, "I'm the closest one there. I got to go stop this guy."
And jumps in the flying saucer.
Jumps in the flying saucer. So they have a fight inside the flying saucer. And then it turns out that the necklace that they stole from her, and I forgot where she got the necklace, I'll have to figure that out, is what's powering the flying saucer. So she's like, "That's mine." She takes it. The flying saucer starts to power down. She opens the door. She jumps in the water. And she's in a dress she borrowed from Lisa, the cop. Okay. And then she jumps in the water. She takes the dress off. She swims to shore. And then there's this, there's a cop there or something. But then she meets this other guy who's like, "Hey, let's go get a cup of coffee. I'm so and so. I bet the pie's pretty fresh." And she's like, "Okay, great, but can I borrow some pants?" And like that's the end of that issue. And that is issue 4. So I'm kind of excited to see where this goes now.
Because I like how you came in here. Yeah. Then you were like here. Yeah. Then it took you here in issue 3. Now you kind of up here again in 4.
Yeah. I'm a little. It's not a spectacular comic, but it's starting to get into the meat of the plot, and I'm now a little bit more excited. I like this commentary on L. Ron Hubbard and like that whole thing. And
it's becoming less one-dimensional,
yeah,
which is nice.
Yeah, it's
because
very nice.
I think that was one of the things is you felt like issues 1 and 2 everything was very linear, and now it's not so much. Now there's a layer of complexity.
Yeah, and
we didn't have before.
The thing is that they didn't really build out the they did some good things and some bad things in the first 3 issues as far as like getting into the story and stuff. But I now that we know what the conflict is and who the bad guy is, I'm more into it and more ready to jump on board. So again, that was Betty Page issue number 4. So I'm looking forward to issue number 5 coming out in a couple weeks. I think this is a bi-monthly comic. So anyway, that's going to end What Did We Read? And let's move on quickly to What Did We Watch? So we did want to talk Thor versus...
oh my god, there's so many things.
Thor versus the
Justice League.
Let's hit these 2 topics real quick, and then we'll jump into the news that we forgot to mention. So,
well, hey Jacob, I'm excited for both.
I am... So one bit of news that came out late last week was... Justice League is tracking at only a $100 million opening. Okay. Which is not particularly great.
By today's standards.
By DC Cinematic Universe standards.
Yeah, which is really funny because Wonder Woman did so well. Why would there be no momentum here?
So Wonder Woman was...
She's heavily featured in the advertising.
When Wonder Woman came out, it was only tracking at $60 million, and it made $103 million.
Well, now 90 million worldwide?
It's the
900 million worldwide. I mean,
it's the 3rd highest grossing. Actually, I think it's the highest grossing.
It's the highest grossing
film of 2017 so far.
Maybe, but I do know it's the highest grossing for any origin movie.
That is true.
I do know she has that crown now.
So that's a bit concerning. Suicide Squad made $133 million at the box office. These are domestically numbers.
Yeah.
These are domestic numbers. And Batman v Superman did 170, I think, at the domestic box office.
It's so weird that the first DC movie that I didn't hate in this cycle was Suicide Squad. That's so it still boggles my mind. And the only reason I didn't hate it is because although the movie got so many things not right as far as a movie getting things right, not even a comic book movie, just as far as a movie getting things right, it was the first time I didn't feel like
hey Jacob and Shane. Yeah, sorry.
It was the first time that I felt like the movie wasn't ashamed of its characters.
True. The characters in that movie are great. It's just the plot and the conflict of the villain.
We get this whole intro to Katana. Yeah. For nothing. There's no payoff. Yeah. The only way there could be a payoff. Actually, I'm going to save that. I'm going to say that my idea. Well, wait. When they took out, if the Soul Sword absorbed Enchantress's witch soul, that would be a great way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Why didn't they do that?
Right, because the Soul Sword. They made this whole build about the Soul Sword. Her husband's spirit is in the Soul Sword, right? They did the whole thing.
Now I hate that movie even more.
I know. But anyhow, there's also what's his name? Diablo. Why does he start speaking the dialect of the villains? Yeah. How does he know how to speak their dialect? Where does that come from? There's no basis for this. It's just thrown at us. I can't. But the point is, it never felt ashamed of its characters. Right. And that is something that's weighed very heavily on me with the other DC films. But anyhow, I have high hopes for Justice League. Justice League and Thor are both getting excellent early reviews. So, I mean, I feel like we're going to get 2 solid films.
I think what's happening...
that are very different.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that... I think what's happening is that everybody's excited for Thor. This is how I always operate. I'm usually most excited about what the next thing coming out is. And I'll be honest with you, even though Thor is the next thing coming out, and I am super excited about it, I am equally as excited about Justice League.
Me too.
And that's because, and that should tell you something, because Thor is the next thing, so I should be more excited about that than Justice League. But
I'm pumped for both.
I've been looking forward to a Justice League movie ever since I was a little kid, because I am a huge DC fan. I mean, you guys know that. And I can't wait to see it. The other thing is, I think people have bought their tickets for Thor. and they're waiting until they're like, oh, I've already spent my money on this. I'll go see Thor, and then I'll buy my Justice League tickets because Justice League tickets are on sale now, and I think they're taking into account how many pre-sales they've had,
which will probably go up after Thor.
Absolutely, and so
payday has to roll in, people.
That's
Y'all
right.
need to chill. However, Rotten Tomatoes, which is a collection of reviews. It's an aggregator. People treat Rotten Tomatoes like it's Siskel and
review
Ebert.
site, yeah.
Right, like I can't even handle it.
It's like on average, what do critics?
Right, and both of them are doing very well at the moment.
Yes. So I'm excited. Who do you think's going to do better at the domestic box office?
I'm honestly not sure. Right? Because here's the thing. I feel like Justice League is going to do well to stand on its own. I have a feeling, because the movie's very long. We know the runtime is like 3 hours for Justice League.
No, it's 2 hours and 1 minute.
No, it's not that short.
Yes. And that's been a huge controversy. They're like, it's the shortest DC movie. Like, what are we, DC Cinematic Universe movie? Like, what are we, like, oh, sound the alarms.
Okay, that's weird.
Are you concerned?
Well, I've been hearing 3 hours a lot.
It is 2 hours and 1 minute.
Oh.
It is 121 minutes.
You know what's weird too? I have several friends who've already gotten to see Thor. And
Really?
They all told, including Henry. He loved it. He absolutely loved it.
Henry.
Yeah. But yeah, he already loved it. He was like and my other friend had seen Thor. I don't know how, and he said he goes, I love seeing all these Kirby things come to life.
Yeah.
So that made me excited because I was like, there's even more Kirby things that we haven't seen in the trailer. And then he goes, but save your money and see it in 2D. He goes, there's so much unnecessary, like which I like 3D, but give me hardcore real
Doctor
3D.
Strange in 3D was phenomenal.
Those scenes were great.
I mean, and they were shot in 3D, which matters.
It absolutely matters.
Not post conversion. So, all right. So I think Thor's going to have a bigger bang. I think
for opening.
I think if we compare opening weekends, I think Thor is gonna outpace Justice League. But I think overall, I think Justice League, if it's as good as we hope it is, and as people are starting to say it is, and Joss Whedon really got to get in there and work his magic, I think it'll have longer legs.
Well, I gotta tell you, this is one of the most vicious holiday seasons I have ever seen. It's Thor Ragnarok, 2 weeks later Justice League, and then December 16th, Last Jedi?
15th, I think.
December 15th, Last Jedi. I mean, like,
I think there's something else coming out.
I don't even like. How do we have? I don't even have room. I can hardly breathe. I don't even have room for all this. You know. Plus, I want to squeeze in that Coco movie.
And that's if we get to see Last Jedi, because some theaters are refusing to show it because Disney wants more of the cut. They did this with Avengers too, and Iron Man 3.
By the way, this is not.
I worked at a theater at the time, and AMC, which is the second largest movie chain in the country, they said no, we're not going to show it.
Wait, but for how? Okay, so let me tell you. So my friend worked in the theater during the days of the original. Oh my God, no. And let me not say this wrong. During the days of episodes 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
And the first 2 weeks of box office for episodes 1, 2, and 3, 100% went to Lucasfilms, right? So those 2 weeks.
You mean 20th Century Fox?
Because
they're the distributors.
Right, the distributor. Yeah. 100% went. So it was all.
Really?
All. And by the way,
insane.
my friends who still manage movie theaters, to this day, they're like, what keeps us open is concessions. You get the ticket sales. The ticket sales.
When you buy a ticket on opening weekend, at best, 20%. The movie theater is making 20 to 30% of that ticket sale.
Yeah.
For opening weekend. As the weeks progress, that number usually scoots up a little bit. But 20 to 30%. So when you pay $20 for a ticket, which by the way, our tickets for Thor tomorrow night in IMAX 2D were $20.
Yep.
I almost said no, thank you. Like I could not believe that. I'm like, how much are 3D tickets? 27?
28.
Where's my reserved seating?
Oh, it's funny because the IMAX in Palisade has reserved seating.
I worked at a movie theater and we started doing reserved seating in our bigger theaters because movie theaters for some reason in America Movie theaters are the last premium entertainment venue where you don't get reserved seating. That's just ridiculous.
I think for IMAX it should be reserved seating should be a standard.
Well, don't you want to know where you're going to sit before you head in the theater?
I gotta
Not
tell
have
you,
to rush there, not have to stand in lines?
I gotta tell you, Palisades, the screen for their IMAX is not what I consider IMAX standard.
Is this the AMC?
Yeah.
By the way, I worked at the sister one in McLean, Virginia.
Did you have the premium seating?
Yeah, so our theaters were identical. So there is 16 auditorium seater. Yep. You go in and there's the two premium. I'm sticking my hand up.
No, when I went to see Valerian, every seat was a premium seat.
I'm saying the there's two premium auditoriums.
Oh, right,
there's
right.
an IMAX
So
and an ETX.
Yeah, so we were in the IMAX one for Valerian.
Yeah.
And the rows are labeled, the seats are labeled. Yep. It was beautiful. The chair, massages, kick your legs up, everything. So and my Valerian tickets were $16. Yeah. So I hope whatever we get when we go tomorrow night is gonna be amazing.
You haven't been to the IMAX in Crossgates?
No,
it's not.
I haven't. Do you know the last movie I saw in Crossgates Mall?
What?
Titanic.
Wow.
It's the last movie I saw there, and I felt
you're gonna feel like you're on the Titanic.
I felt so. It actually there was a huge fight that came out of that, right? So I went with my friend and her boyfriend, and she went to the bathroom, and he's still crying from Titanic. And then a whole bunch of his fraternity brothers see him crying with me patting his back, with no girlfriend in sight.
Did they say something?
All they could do at the frat house next day was terrorize him. Also, you were crying in Cliff's arms after watching Titanic last night.
What's wrong with that? You have beautiful arms. Very caring and loving, supportive arms.
I couldn't wait to go
If
back.
I was crying, I'd want him to be holding me.
It was a different time.
Unbelievable.
Then. Different time.
True. All right. So
maybe not so different in some cases.
So our second thing, you want to skip this and just go right into the news stuff? Because I haven't watched Stranger Things 2. You want to give?
Did you watch season 1 at least?
No.
Are you ever going to watch it?
Does it have kids who are in danger?
Yes, but it's really fun. None of them die. Does that make you feel any better?
A little bit.
Okay, none of them die. But wait, does
Spoiler
any of them
alert.
die? Okay, but she,
oh my god!
But she's a teenager.
Oh my god!
But she's a teenager.
Oh, that makes it all better.
Well,
great. So I can watch this until my kids become teenagers.
Do you know what's better? Is that she's us in high school. Maybe she's just me in high school.
Great. That's even better.
No,
so
it's
now
great.
I can see myself dying
because
in high
then
school.
you can
Perfect.
understand
All
why
right,
people were
moving
screaming
on.
"Justice for Barb." Well, I mean, did you feel like an outcast in high school? Were you?
No, I was the most popular kid in my high school. The last 2 years.
So people don't understand.
I mean, the first 2 years I was kind of an outcast, but the second 2 years, I used to do the morning announcements at my high school.
Okay. So
I was in the drama club. I was the president of the drama club. I was the mascot at the basketball games.
Okay.
I was Anyway.
So anyhow,
not to gloat or anything.
So anyhow, she was the one who was left out and awkward, and her friends go off, to do very risque teenage things and leave her alone. She's that person. So I relate to her deeply. So of course I'm attached to Barb, because God knows I've been abandoned plenty of times, and except I didn't get killed by a Demogorgon. So
spoilers. I haven't seen it.
Sorry, season 1. But season 2, but I'm just saying.
I asked Adam if he wanted to come over and talk about Stranger Things, and he declined.
He can just shout from over. So but anyhow, season 2, we actually see some stuff happening with Barb's parents, and they want answers about their daughter and her disappearance. Great. There's a lot of emotion with the other characters involved and how they feel about the situation. They changed the dynamics of the kids. Which is very nice.
I'll have to watch this.
Dude, I mean, how much do you love your 80s films? Because really, this series just does that.
I'm a huge fan of 80s. By the way, Larry, we usually go live at around 6 p.m. Eastern time. So, and if you miss our show, or if you want to go back and watch the beginning, you can always watch us on the Twitch, or you can watch us on the Facebook. It'll archive it, so
The
it should be
Facebook.
available. The Facebook. So Tony, my friend Tony.
Yes.
He always, when we lived in Maine together, he always used to say, "Oh, I'm going to the Irving." The Irving was a gas station. It was just called Irving. And he said, "I'm going to the Irving. I'm going to the Shaw's. I'm going to the Shop and Save."
I want to board the Orville.
Yeah. Every Wednesday. Yeah.
Almost every Wednesday.
If
We only had
unless
one
there's-
skip week so far.
Unless we've had a couple.
No, two. One, you had Sean
By
sub.
the way, a couple is two.
So you had two. You had Sean sub for me, and the one time we were preparing for New York Comic Con. That was it.
We must have had one.
No, we haven't,
I'm
Adam.
pretty sure we did. Anyway.
I don't think we have.
Great.
We've been spot on.
Adam's like the kid who doesn't want to get
And
in a
also
fight
the
with
New York,
friends.
and then our New York Comic Con episode, we were still literally here watching the
that's true.
show
That's
live.
true, yeah.
Like they all count.
Yeah, so normally every Wednesday we're here doing this. If we miss a week, usually we let people know the week before. So just keep an eye out for that. But we really appreciate you watching, and we hope to see you again.
He's already laughing at me.
So all right, I'll watch Stranger Things. So
Yes, I highly recommend it. You remember how we talked about like pushing the barriers of tension? It's gonna push your barrier for tension more than that episode of Discovery. With Michael, her running around the ship, and they don't know what happened with the experiments, and episode 3.
Okay.
Yeah, because you're like, that was really bordering on my tension. This is definitely gonna go over your tension levels.
Well, that was no. My problem with that episode was just like the visuals of the mangled crew members.
Okay, actually, so the good news on that, you won't see too much of that in season 1.
Okay.
So, like...
In season 1.
Well, no, because season 2, the budget goes through the roof.
Great.
Great. And so other things happen. But no, regardless of that, both seasons focus on character development.
Okay.
And that's what's amazing.
Right.
And once you fall in love with the characters of season 1...
Larry saw the first half of season 1.
Okay.
So.
Once you see the first...
What did you think, Larry? Did you enjoy the first half of the season? You say only the first half. I'm wondering if...
Because he probably got bored. Because that definitely happened to some people.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen, it's like...
It's like 13 episodes a season?
Yeah.
Yeah.
9 and 8?
9 and 8?
No, or 9 and 9. I felt like there was... 8 and 9. I felt like there was a few extra this time. Every show suffers from this. You either find your reason to hang in, or you find your reason to tune out. And I find that with everybody.
So, all right. So
while we get an answer back from him, I have one other thing I can bring up, right? From what we watched. He got bored. So I got to tell you, while you pull something else up. So Supergirl's episode this week.
Yes.
Right? Was like about the cult of Kara. You loved it?
I loved it.
That was an amazing episode. And that's what I want.
The only thing I didn't like was the ending. I felt they didn't spend enough time in the realization that she was not a god.
Right.
Like for the followers to be reflective of that.
Well, no, because so do you know my feeling?
And she didn't show her hand to them.
Yeah.
She only showed it to him, and I wish she would have
shown it to everyone.
And then the reaction of them and the acceptance of that, like.
Well, I got to tell you what I feel is important about this, right? The cult of Superman is always active in Superman comics.
Michael, we're talking about Supergirl. This week's episode of Supergirl this past Monday.
Yeah, but elongated Man in Flash, sweet.
Plastic Man.
Yeah, and they made a joke about that too. Oh my God! And freaking, what's his name? Danny Trejo, as freaking Gypsy's dad. Yeah. Oh my God! Okay. I know that we're overwhelmed by DC CW stuff, but I thought this week they delivered for me so far.
We even said we weren't going to talk about DC stuff, but
yeah, I know, but I could. Well, we didn't go overboard with it.
I actually loved every episode so far this week.
Yeah.
All right. So very quickly, let's talk about the news that Shazam, Captain Marvel himself,
go full screen.
Yeah. Oh yeah, give us that. Oh yeah.
There we go.
Zachary Levi, who I'm a huge fan of from Chuck.
Yes, baby.
I love Chuck. One of
that was
my
bad.
favorite
One more
TV
time.
Shows.
Woo!
And not a lot of people know this, but plays Fandral in Thor: The Dark World.
Yes,
and was the
and will be
original
Fandral in Ragnarok.
Is he?
Yes.
You should, oh, wow. And he is. He was not Fandral in Thor 1, but
That was Prince Charming.
He was the original choice to play Fandral in Thor 1, but scheduling conflicts, he wasn't able to be in it. So, so very excited.
Listen, I'm glad he found a new leading man home. I loved him in the short-lived NBC series telenovela.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I don't think I even
he played Ava Longoria's boss.
Okay.
And of course, she's on a telenovela, and I thought it was hysterical because
yes, Breacher was awesome. That whole storyline with them was great. Like
Cat's hilarious. Oh, poor cat. Oh, by the way, do you love cats?
Cats?
Yeah, cats in general, like a cat.
I used to.
Oh, okay, no, good, because, per 80s movies protocol, cats die left and right, so that's just fair warning for Stranger Things.
Oh, for Stranger Things.
Yeah, because he made a cat alert.
No, he said cast alert.
Oh, cast alert?
Yeah, cast alert.
Whoops. But yeah, no, I'm super excited about this. Apparently they're still looking, from what I heard, they're still looking for Billy Batson.
Sure.
But I have, the young boy to transform. Yeah. However, I have a friend in another circle who heard that maybe this is just it. And I just don't think that's right. So I'm sure we're going to get Billy from somewhere. But I loved when he posted a piece of fan art of himself as Shazam, thanked everyone, and he's so humble, and then said, if you'll excuse me, I've got to go to the gym where I'm going to live the rest of my life.
Yeah. I'll go to the gym for the rest of my life. I'm really super excited. I think he is a phenomenal
actor. But look at the
actor.
face. That face is perfect for Shazam.
Yeah, and I can't
Captain
wait. He even mentions Captain Marvel in his post too, which is great. So
I mean, I wonder what name they're going to go with.
I don't think they can do Captain Marvel.
Yeah, I still to this day
maybe Captain Thunder.
I still to this day cannot understand the legal hoo-ha that happened, because he was Captain Marvel just fine. Yeah, and then all of a sudden they weren't using his name. All of a sudden he was Captain Thunder in Flashpoint, and then Flashpoint ended, and then they didn't touch his character at all.
Well,
and
when did Well, I guess she didn't become Captain Marvel until the 90s. When did Carol Danvers become?
Yeah, she became Captain Marvel. Well, no, because they had Captain Marvel the Man.
Oh, right, Captain Marvel.
Yeah, Captain Marvel.
They had Captain Marvel.
So he was already their Captain Marvel for years, but this character existed first as Captain Marvel.
Right.
But it became this thing where well, DC has the right to use the name because they bought out the stuff from Fawcett Comics after that whole lawsuit thing. So but they just can't print the name on the cover of a comic. Marvel can print the name on the cover of a comic. So that was that was their unspoken agreement for 25 years or so.
Larry, he's fairly tall. I think he's over 6 foot.
He's not about Superman's height.
Yeah, he's
like 6'2", 6'3".
Yeah, he's fairly tall. I think if he bulks up a little, I think he'll. Because I'll be honest, my first reaction was and then I was like,
Oh, come on! We've seen the other transformations they've done.
But here's the thing: is
we're not going to recognize him next year.
I meant that only in the world of the current cast of DC superheroes. Even Batman is Yeah. Even and Henry Cavill,
Gordon.
So
Commissioner
Gordon. Commissioner Gordon
is jacked to know. The one from the Batman for the New Justice League movie is jacked to know it.
Simmons.
He's in the gym. By the way, was J. Jonah Jameson.
And let it slip that he has either seen or read the script for Justice League 2.
Sweet.
So, no official announcement on that yet, but apparently there's a script. So.
By the way, according to the Twitterverse, everyone keeps reporting that there's a green light in Justice League. And there's one scene where they're on that elevator shaft where there is a 6th person with them, and it is presumably Alfred. But it could be Green Lantern. Okay. Now, here's the other thing. Remember how we were down to 2 guys who we didn't know what their roles were? Now, okay, so one of them is playing. I don't know what he's playing, but he's playing somebody insignificant. Yeah. The other one, I got excited because we still didn't know who he was, and then I realized he's playing he's playing Aquaman's ancestor. So you know that clip where the guy is burying the old king is burying something.
I have stayed away from clips for Justice League.
Well, I got to tell you, they're very unhelpful. You know, so like,
you mean they don't tell you the plot of the movie?
Right? No, they learned from Batman versus Superman, where they handed us the movie.
Yeah.
Right? They learned
showing
from
Doomsday was the worst thing ever.
That was the worst thing ever.
I was so upset about that.
No, they
should have built it as a conflict between Batman and Superman, and then in the movie, there's a revelation that they gotta go fight Doomsday. Whatever. Anyway. So I'm super excited about this. Huge woo from me.
Oh, huge woo for he's right for this role.
Yeah.
I firmly believe Captain Marvel is this whimsical character and somebody has to capture the spirit of a young boy inside the body of a man with godlike powers. And I mean, I think Zachary Levi can deliver.
Absolutely. The other bit of news, I don't know if you heard this, but I forget his name, but he was briefly attached to the Justice League Dark movie. Mm-hmm. And he quickly he went in. I think he did a pitch for it. They declined, and then he did a pitch for another DC movie that they quickly accepted. Deathstroke.
Yes. Oh, with Joe Mange. Yes.
With Joe Manganiello, who was originally cast as Deathstroke for the Batman movie that Ben Affleck was supposedly going to be co-writing and directing, and then that got shelved, and Matt Reeves is now doing that.
I'm so worried for Ben Affleck. I really.
And then, why are you worried for Ben Affleck? Like worried he's not going to be Batman?
Well, first I was worried he's not going to be Batman, but now with the whole Harvey Weinstein thing, things keep looking not great for him. You know?
I mean, they are certainly not committing to him being Batman in the Batman movie.
Well, they already weren't, and now I just feel like the nails are coming for his coffin. There's an online petition to stop his brother from presenting any awards at the next Oscars. I just feel like he's rooted and connected with all the wrong people right now.
Yeah.
Which I'm a little sad for, because on his own, I kind of like him.
So in the meantime, we'll take the anti-Batman, which is Deathstroke.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited about this,
which will probably be a fantastic movie.
I remember who it is. It's the guy who directed The Raid and The Raid 2. No! So it's gonna be like super action. Like it's gonna be super. So Michael's asking if we've seen the new Hellboy. Yes, he looks fantastic. Speaking of Stranger Things, because doesn't he play the sheriff in Stranger Things?
Yeah, he looks amazing. Yeah. And oh my God, how he already looks like Hellboy.
Oh yeah.
Like
when I first saw it, I was like, I thought Ron Perlman was not going to be in this movie.
Ron Perlman's like, oh, you look great.
Yeah. He's like, oh, I love it. He's an attractive guy.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that Hellboy movie too.
I can't believe that the new downloadable character for freaking Injustice 2 is Hellboy.
I know.
Like, what is this?
I already
it's like Dark Christmas.
I'll tell you what. And the thing is like if that game was on the Switch, because the Switch is my main console right now. If that
Ron Perlman was a little salty. But he's not
Ron Perlman's just he has resting salt face.
Yeah, it's resting salt face.
Which is fine because I love Ron Perlman.
But I don't find him to be the person who carries a grudge.
He played the Viceroy in Star Trek Nemesis.
Yes.
And with Tom Hardy, who's playing Venom, that just started filming. Lots of stuff going on. Woo!
Now, Sony is filming Venom.
Yep.
But what we don't officially know
is if it's connected to the Marvel Cinematic
Right, because as far as Sony is concerned, their head, remember that interview where she's like, we're so happy that these characters are going to be part of the Marvel. He's like, why are you saying this?
There was even a producer on Venom that said it was connected.
Right.
Behind the scenes.
So I'm excited. I would be very happy.
Even if it's just loosely connected. You know?
Oh, no, I'm tired of loosely connected. I mean, commit or just...
No.
Listen.
It's like Star Trek Discovery. It's like, yeah.
No, that's different. That's different.
How is that different?
To me, it's different. Okay. Because it's still... Because
Star Trek did it right the first time.
Star Trek, yeah.
They were the first connected universe.
Right, and no, that's what I'm saying. And in other words, this one still feels like a connected universe. I'll tell you why it's different.
Tell me why it's different.
Discovery doesn't pussy put around it. Okay? Mm-hmm. All the Marvel Netflix shows, they pussy put around it. And that's what I can't take. It's that I can't take it. I don't want
Larry's with you.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you. I'm just tired of it. Larry also told me that he feels like...
Larry, what are you not watching? Nah, not watching that. Nope.
What is he not watching?
I don't know. What were we just talking about before that?
What were we saying that loosely connected?
Oh, maybe he's not.
Oh, the Venom movie, maybe.
Oh, the Venom movie.
Maybe. We're gonna. He'll answer when he catches up.
So if like I was saying, if Injustice 2 was on the Switch, I would be playing that nonstop because like the Switch is my main console right now, and I'll.
By the way, I hear the Switch is performing amazing. Yep, he said Venom.
Yep.
I hear the Switch is performing amazing this year.
Oh yeah.
I'm giving Venom a shot if it is fully connected. I just want you to know. If it's not fully connected,
Here's the thing: is I believe that they're not saying that this. They're not like going in saying, oh, it's going to be rated R or it's going to be PG-13 or whatever. They're just like, yeah, we're going to make a movie. If it's R, it's R. If it's not, it's not. Like they did the same thing with New Mutants. So we know how you feel about that trailer.
I really hope that the next sets of trailers for New Mutants sway me because I'm not completely turned off, but at no point was I turned on.
Yeah.
You know, like even freaking.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna go into it. I'm just saying.
All right, so
Switch is amazing.
Let's. Speaking of the Switch, let's move into what did we play because this past Friday, Super Mario Odyssey came out, and I was playing. I started playing it. I went to the local GameStop here in Hudson, did a midnight release because there was a bunch of games coming out, including Odyssey. So just to. So
you already own the Switch, you said. So you just got the Mario.
You don't know this?
No, I know you have the Switch.
Launch day, I went to Walmart after I got out of work at 7. I went to Walmart and I went. This is exactly what I did. I had my 3DS with me, and I went to the deli counter and I got some chicken tenders. I went and got a Coke. I bought them. Then I walked to the aisle with the folding chairs.
Where did you say this was? This is
Walmart.
Target?
This is Walmart. Right,
okay,
right here
that makes
in
sense. I was like, why were the chicken tenders?
Went to the aisle with the folding chairs, grabbed a folding chair, went to the electronics section and said, where does the line for the Switch start? And he said, right over there. I put the chair down, I sat down, I started eating chicken tenders, and I whipped up my 3DS and played the original Legend of Zelda and waited 7 hours. 7 hours? 5 hours. 5 hours to get my Switch and Breath of the Wild and some amiibos.
Nice.
Because
Mike is saying everybody loves Mario Odyssey. Super Mario Odyssey.
That's the game everyone's talking. Yes. So Super Mario Odyssey. So this game came out on Friday, and I started playing it Thursday right after midnight after I got it.
So is his hat alive, or is his
So here's the premise. Here's the premise of. So it starts off right in the middle of an action scene. Peach has been kidnapped. Mario's fighting Bowser on one of his sail ships. Just like action, right? Meanwhile,
so it's like a total throwback to the days of Super Mario Brothers 3 almost.
You don't understand.
Or 2.
This game, This game
4.
is a throwback to every
Everything?
Mario game ever made. It's amazing. So action sequence, Peach has been kidnapped. Peach's tiara her crown is named Tiara and is from this kingdom called Bonnet Town where all of these living hats live, or living headpieces live. And her brother, who is Cappy, who is a top hat, a white top hat, is watching all of this unfold. Mario is trying to defeat Bowser. He fails.
Fireballs.
No, nothing. He's just natural Mario. Okay. He gets pushed off the sail ship. His hat flies down on the deck, and then Bowser stomps on the hat, squishes it, and then walks away. The hat flies out, goes through the propellers, and gets shredded.
Ooh.
Meanwhile, Cappy flies over. He sees all this happen, grabs the last piece of Mario's hat that has the M on it, and looks at it, and then flies away.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Oh.
So then Mario lands in this kingdom, and he's in Bonnet Town. He's in the kingdom, the hat Bonnet Town, and he sees Cappy with a piece of his hat. So he runs over, and then Cappy says, when Bowser kidnapped Peach, he kidnapped my sister, Tiara, and I want to go get her back, and I want you, I want to help you let's go rescue both of them. So then he transforms into Mario's hat, and he gets on there. Now, the whole premise, the main mechanic in the game is, how Mario always has like power-ups? And there's been like crazy Marios. There's been a raccoon Mario, there's been a rabbit Mario,
Frog Mario.
There's been Frog Mario, there's
Fire
been
Mario,
Fire Mario. Super Mario with the cape from Super Mario World. Super Mario World is my all-time favorite Mario game ever, until this came out, actually. There's been a Tanuki Suit Mario, which is a Japanese rodent or whatever. There's been some crazy Marios. Okay, so the whole premise in this is that instead of power-ups, you get to capture objects or enemies or other beings. Nintendo is very clear; it is not possession. Okay. So the first thing you do in Bonatown is you throw your hat on a frog and you turn into the frog with with Mario's hat. So you have to jump around. So you can be a Koopa that's throwing frying pans, which is great because it's similar to the Hammer Brothers. You know. Yeah. You can do. There's this one thing where you throw your hat on a Koopa. I'm sorry, a Goomba, and then you can jump on top of other Goombas and create a stack of Goombas, and that'll help you get to like mystery blocks up high or other objectives that you have to do.
The one that I found most outrageous from the commercial is becoming a T-Rex.
So that's the other thing is that do I have this picture? So this is New Donk City, which is fantastic because it's a throwback to Donkey Kong, and in the original Donkey Kong, the arcade game, the girl you rescue is Pauline. And in this game, Pauline is the mayor of New Donk City in the Metro Kingdom. And if you see, this is very realistic graphics compared to other Mario games. Same thing with the dinosaur in Cascade Kingdom is you have this giant dinosaur that looks like a real dinosaur, HD and everything. And one level, I'm not going to say anything more, but you have to fight a dragon. Like a real big dragon. And it looks like a dragon from Skyrim. Or like some other fantasy game. It's amazing. So what's great is
why are we fighting a dragon?
They put Mario in these different kingdoms, in these different worlds, and this one's great because, you know, when you finish off this level, you literally have to... Oh, the other thing is that there's literally areas in the game where you have to go into an 8-bit pipe and you come out as 2D Mario from the original Mario Brothers, and you have to do these 2D levels to progress to the next 3D thing. And it's a lot like Mario 64 in that you go to these different areas. It's pretty much open world within that area, and you go and there's different moons that you have to instead of stars, it's moons that you have to collect, and they power up the Odyssey ship that you get from Bonatown, and you travel to these different kingdoms across this globe, and then eventually to the moon. And I can't say enough about this game. It's amazing.
You do? Okay.
So, and the other thing is you get to collect different outfits. Here's Mario wearing the Luigi outfit. There's classic Mario. There's Pirate Mario. There's Waluigi. There's Diddy Kong. There's a white wedding outfit. There's Dr. Mario, if I didn't say that one already. So
Pirate Mario I see in the corner.
Pirate Mario, there's like Hawaii Mario. And each kingdom you go to, there's a specific outfit that you have to buy collecting the specific coins for that area. And then they say, oh, well, if you dress like us, you can go into this secret area or this locked area. So you go and you buy the outfit, you collect the coins, buy the outfit, and then you go into the secret area and
find things.
Yeah. And there's even some. This is from my friend Sir Randall, who has been doing some live streams on this on YouTube. So if you want, check out his channel, Sir Randall. He does some live gaming. But this is the Forest Kingdom, and as you can see, like the leaves in the graphics. Oh, you can capture a tank.
Oh my!
Watch this! Look at this! You can capture a tank. Oh well.
Oh.
There you go.
Oh, there we go.
And you have, because the tanks are the ones that blow up these special blocks and stuff. So it's really cool. There's a lot of different characters that you can capture and you can play as to go through the levels. And there's one specific character that you get to capture that really makes it fun. I'm not gonna tell you who it is, but it's a character we've known for a very long time in the Mario games. And it's really amazing and fun to play as him. So Bowser stole Peach because he wants to force her to marry him. And so then he goes to a kingdom and steals a cake. Then he steals a wedding dress. Then he steals a bouquet of flowers and so on and so forth. And you travel to these kingdoms after him trying to get to him. And a lot of throwbacks, a lot of music cues from past Mario games, a lot of mechanics that you're playing to advance through the levels, a little bit of throwbacks to games. There's even a Super Mario Sunshine mechanic where you're squirting water when you capture this squid thing. There's a lot of little touchstones that they go through
to do all the throwbacks,
and it really is great. It's a celebration of all things Mario. This is great. You're gonna throw it in there. You create a beanstalk like you do, like from the other games when you have beanstalks and you climb up. Just a lot of fun, a lot of places to explore, a lot of different things to see and to do. I mean, I don't know how many hours I've played. It hasn't long. I have rescued Peach, but it even unlocks more stuff. There's more.
It's like the game's not over.
The game is not over, and rescuing Peach is literally only the first third of it. It's amazing.
Can you actually play as Peach?
I haven't yet, but that's an interesting question.
Okay,
they've hinted that Yoshi's in the game, but I haven't found him yet.
So you've avoided talking about it, but have you been able to play as anybody but Mario so far?
You don't play as anybody but Mario, but you can capture, and you definitely capture characters that are not Mario,
and play as them for a little bit.
Yes.
Okay, yes. I accept that.
Specifically one that I can think of, but then there's other, but like the Goombas and the Koopas, and like you can capture them, and the tanks and stuff, the dinosaur. There's some stuff there, but very interesting, very cool. I can't wait to keep playing this game, and I highly recommend it for anybody who's got a Switch. And if you don't have a Switch, I feel like now that there's a Mario game and a Zelda game. There's hundreds of hours of gameplay available to you just in those two games, and I highly recommend.
Buy it for me for Christmas. I'm going to put it on my Amazon wish list. Thank you.
They are returning back into stock now, so I think until the holiday season, now is probably the best time to get one. Like once Black Friday hits, they're going to be gone from. It's going to be really hard to get one from Black Friday to the holidays. So. They have the Mario Odyssey edition just came out with the red controllers, and then there's also a Splatoon 2 version that has pink and neon green controllers. I personally have the neon yellow controllers that I really like.
I will post my wish list tomorrow at noon, and
so let's wrap it up real quick. So we're excited about Thor.
We're excited about Justice League.
We're excited about Justice League, too.
I'm actually, talk about getting excited too quick. Mm-hmm. I'm so excited about Shazam. That's
awesome.
That was the best news. I was like, yes!
I'm really happy for him because I hope it does well because I think he is not in enough stuff. Yeah. And if you haven't seen Chuck, go watch Chuck. So much nerdiness and geekiness in that show. Really great, fun show to watch. It's only 5 seasons and great soundtrack to that show and wonderful, nerdy and geeky.
Great characters.
Great characters.
So much fun.
Really fun. Tomorrow night, Thursday night, you, me,
and
Joe, and my friend Kenny too. I think he messaged me that he's coming. We're all gonna go see Thor.
In IMAX.
In IMAX.
In 2D.
Up in Albany. We will try to live stream that right here on this page if we can. We'll live stream before we go in if we have time, and then we'll live stream our non-spoiler reactions afterwards. So, you excited about that?
I'm pretty excited.
I'm excited.
Plus, it'll be a nice theater.
You a popcorn guy when you go to the movies?
I haven't been because I don't like the way it makes my mouth feel. And then recently I went to a movie.
That's a term when foodies when they're talking about food. Mouthfeel is an actual thing.
Right, but this is like
mouthfeel is very important to me too, especially with
right.
sushi.
But this isn't even that.
That's just like when you eat popcorn, it makes your mouth feel undesirable.
Right, and then you just have that stinging in your. I don't know if you've ever had this with a stinging in your mouth.
That's too much salt.
Right, so the last time I went to the movies,
you got to negate that with more butter.
No, let me tell you. The last time I went to the movies, I got a small popcorn because I had the free points.
Small?
Yeah, small. No, listen. Because I've been having
amateur.
You're a jerk. Because I've been having that problem with popcorn for so long. I haven't eaten popcorn in a movie theater in 6 years.
Are you serious?
Yes.
6 years?
So I had the small bag.
Yeah. Oh,
right.
You're having it.
Yeah.
You're talking about you're having it, and the last time you had it was 6 years. So you're having it again.
Right. So I just had it
small. Yeah.
I just had it for the first time in 6 years at the movie theater, and I got a small because obviously, if the burning, stinging sensation happens again, I don't want no part of it. And then the girl asked me for butter. I said, you know what? No. Like, I'm going to just take it the way it is. It was perfect.
Really?
It was perfect. I had no problem with it. So that is the only takeaway I have.
Do you know what the butter's made out of?
No, don't tell me.
It's made
Tell
of...
me.
It's made of people. No, I'm just kidding. It's made out of soy.
Oh.
The butter is soy.
Well, we have steroids that are made of soy too, so there you go.
Yeah, but... well, good. I'm glad that you can eat popcorn now.
Oh, Joe joined us just in time.
Joe!
We'll see you tomorrow.
We'll see you tomorrow, and that's gonna do it for this week's Read Watch Play. Sorry, Joe, you just showed up, but we just had an argument about popcorn. So
right, which was an unnecessary argument about popcorn.
Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching Read Watch Play. We'll see you again next week, 6 p.m. Wednesdays. That's for you, Larry.
That's right.
And as always, I'm your host, Tony Cox.
And I'm Clifford Parmenter.
And thank you again.